Okay, today I am going to demonstrate how to make this very cute Amigurumi jellyfish. I keep calling it a squid or an octopus, but it's a jellyfish, so just... I made it in my pattern with a velvety yarn, but here I just made it with a worsted weight because it's kind of hard to see the velvety stuff. You're welcome to make it with velvety if you like. Either way, it's going to turn out cute and it's super easy, and I think we're ready to get started, so let's get into it. So to begin, we're going to make a magic circle. I have a tutorial for this that I'll put a link below, but basically all you're going to do is make a circle with your yarn. You're going to put your hook through, not like that. Okay, so, but really, pull a loop through, and then you're going to yarn over and pull tight to secure. Okay, so that's going to be your circle. So now you're going to work some stitches into the center of that circle to make your magic circle. For this pattern, we are going to do 6. It tends to be a good, nice number to make round things. For some reason, I'm sure there's like an actual explanation for it, but I don't know it. So, oh, hello, giant clump of yarn from the center of my skein. Let's just untangle that. Okay, go ahead. All right, and now we're moving on. We're going to continue on with 6 single crochets. So you're going to use single crochet because it makes a tighter fabric, which means you don't see your stuffing. I mean, I suppose if that's the look you're going for, then use a double crochet. You know, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but if you don't want to see your stuffing, you're going to want to stick with single crochets. You're going to pull your tail tight there, and that's your super cute little magic circle. Pull it tight, make sure there's not a hole. There you go. Now I'm going to count, make sure I've done the right number. And for the first round, I'm not going to slip stitch and turn. I'm going to just start right in on the single crochets. So they're going to go 2 into every stitch. So see, I've inserted 1, and there's 1. And in the same stitch, I'm going to do a second one. So there's 2. Moving to the next stitch, 1, 2, okay, and then to the next stitch. All right, and I'm just counting how many I have. I don't have a stitch marker. I find that they're kind of too fiddly when you're doing just the magic circle, so I just count the first round. You can use a stitch marker if you want. I just find that it's easier not to. So here is my number 9. Here is my number 10. Here is 11. And here's 12. So that is your first round, and you're ready to move on to round number 2. You should have 12 stitches in total. Okay, this is round 3. I misspoke before. It's not round 2, it's round 3. So you're going to put the stitch marker in just like that, kind of lay it under there, and that's going to be the beginning of your round. For this round, we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 in the next stitch. So it's like a pattern, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's your 2, there's your 1, and then here's your 2. So you're going to just do that all the way around until you get right back to that stitch marker. And remember, we're not slip stitching and turning or anything like that. We're just going to keep going, but that stitch marker tells you when to start the new round or the new pattern. At round 3, you should finish up with 18 stitches. So now we're ready to move on to round 4. You're going to take your stitch marker out, and you're going to replace it at the beginning of your next round. So this one, we're going to go ahead and do 2 in 2 separate ones. So you go 1, 2, and then in the next one, you're going to go 2 in that same stitch. So there's your second one in that one. And then you're going to go 1, 2. Well, let's pull out some more yarn. All right, so you're going to go 1 in 1 stitch, another 1 in 1 stitch, and then this next one is going to be 2 in the same stitch. So I'm going to go look back and make sure that I'm doing it right as I go. Make sure I'm not losing that pattern. You're going to go do that all the way around until you get back to that stitch marker and you're ready to move on to the next stitch. In this one, you should have 24. Let's go ahead and start with round number 5. We're going to take out that stitch marker. We're going to replace it under our first stitch. This time we're going to go 1, 2, then we're going to go number 3. There we go, see, and then the next one is going to be 2 in that one. That's also called an increase stitch. Sometimes you'll see that in patterns. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3. Then you're going to do an increase, and that just means 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So you're just going to do that all the way around until you get back to that stitch marker again. Then you can start on the next round. And I don't know if you noticed, but there is a pattern here. See, we're increasing first we did every single one we increased, then it was every other one, then every third one, then this one's every fourth one. So as you can see, it's, a pattern, which is why they call it a pattern. So hopefully that makes sense, and you can kind of see how things are going to progress. And we will move on to row 6 in just 1 second here. Okay, you just finished round 5, and you should have ended with 30 stitches. For round 6, we're going to start the same way. Replace that stitch marker. Then you're going to start with 1, 2, and 3 stitches, and actually 4, just kidding. And then you're going to do your increase, which is just the 2 stitches in the next one. You're going to keep doing that all the way around until you get back to that stitch marker, and that's going to be your round 6. Round 6, you should end with 36 stitches. So now we are going to move on to round 7. We're going to start just the same way, replacing that stitch marker. We're going to stitch a single crochet in the next 5. So this is number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Then you're going to do 2 single crochets in the next one, and you're going to continue that all the way around until you get back to that stitch marker. Okay, for round 7, you should have ended with 42 stitches. So now for rounds 8 through 14, we're going to do the same thing. We are going to just single crochet all the way around. You're going to do that for row 8, for row 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. That's all you're going to do. No increases, no decreases, nothing. So I will come back and show you what that looks like when I am finished with row number 14. Here's what I have all the way through row 14. So as you can see, I've made my little dome, and we are going to start round 15 with something called an invisible decrease. So we're going to replace our stitch marker here, and for an invisible decrease, what we're going to do is we're going to insert our hook in just the first front loop of that first and second single crochet. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through. Okay, I'm going to show you again, okay? So just bear with me. So after that invisible decrease, you're going to do 5 regular standard single crochets. So we've got 2, 3, oh, hello. Sorry about that, lost my yarn. It happens. Okay, and 4, and 5. Okay, so now here's that invisible one again. You're going to go in the front loops only. Okay, watch, here we go. So see, here's the back loop, here's the front loop. That's the back loop, that's the front loop. So you're going to insert your hook only through that front loop. Then you're going to kind of twist and insert it into the next front loop only also. Yarn over, pull through that one, pull through that one. There you go. Yarn over and pull through. And that is an invisible decrease. Okay, and you're going to go 5 single crochets, and you're going to repeat that pattern until you get back to the stitch marker. And what we're doing is we're kind of just tightening up that bottom. It's going to make it look really cute. So just continue that all the way till you get to the stitch marker, and then we'll start on row 16, which is going to be the little fringe. All the way around, and we'll meet back here after you're done with that. Okay, we're moving on to row 16. So on row 15, we should have ended with 36 stitches. So we're going to ditch our stitch marker, and we're going to go on to this new thing. You're going to see why you don't need that stitch marker. So we're going to work in the front loop only. So there's the back loop right there, and this is the front loop. You're going to insert in just the front loop, and you're going to put 5 single crochets in just that front loop in the very first one. Okay, so there's 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and you have a little scallop, and the next one we're just going to do a slip stitch. Front loop only, insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through again. All right, I'm going to show you that again. We've got front loop only, and we're going to do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet, 4 single crochet, and 5 single crochet. Then you're going to do a slip stitch in the front loop only in the next one. You're going to continue that all the way around until you get back to that first scallop you made. That's why we don't need the stitch marker, because you'll be able to figure out where your row ends. So I will show you what that looks like when we get all the way to the end and it's all full of those cute little scallops. Okay, now we're all done with that. Look how cute it looks. It's already starting to have so much personality all the way around. So what we're going to do now is we are going to slip stitch into that first single crochet we made. You can see it there. You're going to slip stitch right into that first single crochet that we made and slip stitch, and then you're going to cut your ends off. Let me grab my scissors. You're going to cut your ends off. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail just so it's a little easier for you to weave it in. Pull that tight, and there is your cute little, well, it's the body of the squid. For this next part, we're going to need 3 pieces of black yarn that are approximately 6 inches long, a yarn needle, and some scissors. All right, you're going to take one of your 6-inch long black pieces of thread and you're going to start a regular knot in it. But instead of pulling tight, you're going to twist that again 2 times, and then one more time, a 3rd time, and you're going to pull it tight. You're going to guide that knot to be right in the center. You don't want to pull it too tight. You want it to have some shape to it still. You're going to do that again. I'll show you. These are the eyes. So you're going to make like a regular knot, but you're not going to pull it tight here. You're going to push that tail through again. That's 2. And then one more time, 3. You're going to pull it not too tight, and you're going to guide it so that it's in the center of that piece of yarn. And I'm going to make sure they're even, you want even eyes on your squid. Not squid, sorry, jellyfish. All right, so I'm going to show you 2 different ways to put the face on. To put the eyes on, you can use a needle. You're going to thread the needle, and you're going to go up 1, 2, 3 rows. You're going to insert your needle, and on the next stitch over is where you're going to put it again. So I'm going to thread the needle again with the other end, and this yarn is just this is some scrap yarn that I had, and as you can see, it's like pulling apart really bad. So I'm just going to work with that, put it in the next stitch over, and it worked fine. All right, now this is my preferred method that I'm going to show you, where I'm going to use just my crochet hook. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. I'm going to insert my hook. It's 5 stitches to the side of that one, okay? And then I just pull my yarn through. That's so much easier. I'm not sure why I tried it with the needle the first time. All right, and you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just going to the next stitch over. There we go. And you're going to pull through. All right, now that you've got all the yarn that way, there are his eyes. Oh, so cute. All right, and now all you're going to do here is just tie some knots so that those stay in place. You don't want to do it too tight, because you could actually pull the little knots that look like eyeballs back through. So you want to be, gentle, but you do want to make it pretty tight. You're going to do that to both of them, and then we'll come back here and finish making the face by making a mouth. All right, we're ready to add the mouth. So look how cute he looks so far. All right, so you're going to take your yarn and you're going to go 2 rows down, 1, 2, and then in the center of that, you're going to insert your hook, pull through, pull that little piece of black yarn through, and then 2 over, you're going to pull it through again. So now you've got a straight line. So you're going to take your yarn needle and you're going to thread it, and then once it's threaded, we're going to insert it in a hole that is 1 row down and in the center. So you'll be able to see it when it comes through. See, it's 1 row down from that line and in the center. You're going to go up under that line we made with the yarn and pull it down. Look, oh, hello. So cute already. All right, and then you're going to insert the needle back through the same place that you pulled it out of. All right, you're going to pull that thread tight, and you want all the thread to be laying down flat. If it's not, you're going to just kind of tug on it and pull on it until it all lays down flat. If you have any bumps in it, it's going to mess it up when you fill it and things are going to get caught. So you want everything to be lying down really flat. Then you can turn it inside out and you can tie that. I do a knot where I do a regular knot, and then on this next one I go through twice, and then I pull it tight, and there it is. So cute and ready to make the base, and we are almost all done. Okay, now we're going to start the base of the squid. So we're going to do this kind of faster because this is basically the same way we started the top of our squid. We're going to start with our magic circle again. Remember, you make a circle and you yarn through and you hold it tight, and then you make a slip stitch and hold it in place. Then you go ahead and single crochet, and you're going to do the exact same thing that you started with. You're going to do 6 single crochets in the center of that one. Okay, the same way that we did it in the beginning. So I'm going to kind of go quickly through it. If you feel confused or you're not sure what to do, you can refer back to the beginning of the video to refresh yourself. All right, once we pull tight, we are going to go do the exact same thing that we did before. We're going to do 2 single crochets in each one around. Again, I'm not using my stitch marker. I'm just going to count out 12. Once you get to 12 single crochets, you know that you've gone around. Just make sure that they're spaced evenly so that 2 stitches are in each single crochet. There. Once we get around all the way, then we'll go ahead and continue with that same pattern that we did before. So for our next round, we're going to bring in our stitch marker again. This time we're going to go every the first one we're going to do 1 single crochet. The second one we're going to do 2 single crochets, then 1, then 2, and you're going to do that all the way around until you get to the next one. So there we go. Now on the next one we're going to do 2 single crochets in the next 2, or 1 single crochet in the next 2, sorry, and then 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet in the next 2, 2 single crochets in the next one, all the way around until you get to that stitch marker. And the next one, you guessed it, we're going to replace our stitch marker and we're going to go 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets in that one. We're going to do that again, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 in that one. And you're going to do that all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. And you're ready to start the next one. This one, you guessed it, we're going to do 4. 4 single crochets in the next 4 stitches. Not 4, 1 in the next 4 stitches. 1 in each one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to do 2 in that one. Okay, so we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Watch out, don't go so fast that you lose your yarn. Okay, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to do 2 in the next one. You're going to do that all the way around until you get back to the stitch marker again. And for this last row, you're going to do 5. You're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches. When you get to the end of that row, all you're going to do is cut your ends and tie a knot. Now listen though, I'm going to have you do what I did not do, which is leave yourself a really long tail, because that's what you're going to use to sew this together. I ended up having to use a separate one and it was just kind of a mess. So 1 single crochet in the next 5, then 2 in the next one, all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. Tie your ends off and leave yourself a long tail, and then we're ready to move on to the tentacles. So now we're ready to start on the tentacles. So what you're going to do is you are going to make yourself a regular slip knot. Okay, just a standard slip knot. You're going to insert your hook and you are going to chain 40. Now, it's going to seem like a lot, but just trust me. So go ahead and chain 40. And once you have that, that is when you're going to start doing the trickiness. All right, so here's your 40. And in the second chain from the top, from the hook, you're going to insert and you're going to single crochet 1, 2, 3. All right, and then you're going to do that again. 1 in the next stitch over, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you're going to do that all the way down, and you're going to have to be careful because it's going to start to curl. So you're going to need to watch that, make sure you're not twisting your chain. You're going to go all the way down, and when you're done with that, you're going to see how neat that's going to look. See, look at how cool that looks. Just 3 stitches in each one of the chains gives you this crazy little tentacle. So you're going to take your base, and you still have your tentacle connected. You're going to go 3 down from the outside. You're going to insert your hook in through it, and then you're going to yarn over and pull your yarn through, and then you're going to yarn over and make a slip stitch. Now you're going to insert in the next one over and make another slip stitch. Then in the next one over and make another slip stitch. Now from here we are going to start on the next tentacle. So we're going to go again. We're going to make 40 chains. So here you go. You're going to go 40 chains all the way, same as you did before, but this time it's connected to the base. This is going to be the way that we're going to connect the tentacles the whole way. There's your chain 40. We're going to do it again, just like we did before. Second chain from the hook, we are going to put 3 single crochets in each chain down, all the way down. And there's that one. So let me show you how you're going to connect this side to the base. So there's your very last one. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. Actually, that wasn't my very last one. I have another one. Sorry. And you so 1, 2, and 3. All right. So now what you're going to do is you're going to move that tentacle out of the way, and you can see right here. You're going to just insert down and back up, yarn over, pull through, and make a slip stitch. Yarn down, back up, yarn over, pull through, and make a slip stitch. You're going to do 3 slip stitches in between each of the tentacles. This will space them out really evenly. All right. Then you're going to chain 40 and do the whole thing over again. And that is how you make the tentacles. All right, so I would say this next part is the most difficult part of this pattern, but really it's still pretty simple. So you're going to go ahead and this is our very last tentacle. I'm going to put my last 3 single crochets in the last chain of this last tentacle. I'm going to say last a couple more times. So 2 and 3. So the reason that I say it's difficult is just because you really have to be paying attention to where your hook is going in right now. There's a lot happening here at the bottom of this base. All right, so now I'm going to put my 3 slip stitches until I meet up with that first tentacle that we put in. So there's 2, and my third one is actually going to be in the bottom of that first tentacle to anchor that down. It was kind of wobbly before I did that, so I just right in there I made a slip stitch in there. Now I'm going to make another knot, and I'm going to cut off the tails in just a minute, but I want to show you first what it looks like. So here it is. Here are all the tentacles looking good. Here's the side view, and this is the upside down view. That's what's going to be on the inside right there. And now we're going to start with the last portion of the pattern. So we are going to, first I'm going to untangle all this from here. I should have cut those off first. So I'm going to cut my ends, pull them through, and then I'm going to walk through and just weave in all my ends. So the nice thing about something that you're going to stuff is you can just pull all of your ends towards the part that's going to be the inside, which is this right here. and then you don't have to worry about them anymore. So I'm going to go through and just hunt down all of my ends and just pull them through. All right, I think that was the last one. Oh, hello. All right, come on, little guy. There we go. All right, so that's all of them. So remember how earlier I said when you make your base, give yourself a long tail. Well, I didn't. So here I am using a totally separate piece of yarn. It worked out okay, but it was definitely harder than if I had just used the tail. So my base with the tentacles connected already and my body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, hello, I'm going to line up the first stitch of each one. So here's the first stitch I'm sorry, not the first stitch, the last stitch I made of each one. So here's the last stitch I did on the base, and I'm lining it up with the last stitch I made on the body. So when I insert the needle into the body, I'm only going to go into that stitch that is not used. So remember before I did, oh, here I am weaving in another end. Oh, that's the end from the body. I just weaved that in towards the inside. So I'm going to go through both stitches of the base, but for the body, I'm just going to do the one stitch that's not being used. And the tentacles are going to get caught up in your yarn. It's just going to happen. So just be patient and go slow on that part. So see, I'm going to go through both on the base, but just that one that's available. Remember, we only went through the front stitch of the to make those little ripples. Well, now I'm going to use that other stitch to sew into. So there you go. You can see it really clearly right there. I'm just going to sew around, but I am going to leave about a 2-inch gap to stuff with. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to sew this all around, not skipping any stitches, all the way around. And then when we have about 2 inches left, that is when we will go ahead and move on to the stuffing. Okay, now that I have that all done, oh, it's looking so, so cute. I'm going to use that little opening to stuff, to stuff the jellyfish. Now, jellyfish don't really have stuffing. I don't know if you know that. Anyway, sorry. So you can stuff it as tight or as loose as you want. You want to do it a little, you want to do it a little bit more stuffing than you think you're going to want, because as time goes on, it'll squish down. So I'm going to stuff a little bit beyond what I think I want, and there you go, to the firmness or softness that you like. All right, so now you're going to pick up your needle and you're going to go ahead and just continue on with that same stitching we were doing before, through both loops of the base and through just that front one of the body. So you're going to go all the way, close that up, and that is going to be the last step that you're going to take for this adorable little jellyfish. All right, last few stitches here, and if you see that it's kind of you're missing some stitches or there's too many stitches in one, just go ahead and make sure they're spaced evenly. It should even be exactly right, but if it's not, just make it work. So here it is, so cute. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, so what you're going to do now is you are going to tie up your ends. So here I have, like I said, this is because I did not use the tail of my base. If you had used the tail of your base like you should have, unlike me, all you would do now is just tie a little regular knot in your one piece of yarn and then weave in your ends. So here for me, I tied those two together, and I'm going to thread this into the needle as well so that this other one is going to get weaved in also. I'm having a little bit of a hard time. I forgot I was left-handed for a second. And there we go. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and weave the ends in. So to weave the ends in, all you're going to do is you're going to stick your needle in and pull it out at a random place. It doesn't matter where it's going to be, because watch what we're going to do next. Okay, after we've done that, then we're going to stick it back where we just got it, and we're going to push it through to another random place. And I like to make sure that it's going through the stuffing too, because that's going to lock your your yarn in place. You're going to pull it all out here, and I'm going to just make sure none of that yarn is tugging. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut it really close to the base without cutting any of my yarn that's actually part of it. And I am untethered and free, and here it is. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you make this and love it as much as I do.